We could be at the beginning of one of the most dynamic shifts in the gold and silver market as long lines are starting to form in bullion shops around the world. Let's talk about it as we explore. With the latest fairly large dip in gold and silver prices that has occurred, I think people are seeing an opportunity here, and honestly, I can't blame them. As long as they are not panicking, although seeing the long lines kind of is reminiscent of a panic to some degree, and we're going to see that from time to time whenever there are shifts like this. We've encountered it before. I've talked about it like in Germany several years ago. There was a limit to how many gold bars you could buy, so long lines were forming then. And of course, we're seeing backwardation in the silver market, a lot of different things going on now, especially with institutional buying. That institutional buying, I don't think is slowing down at this point, and there's a number of things going on there, but it's really the retail market that we're looking at now that is picking up, and it's good news. But we'll get into that in a moment. I want to remind you of channel sponsor Summit Metals. If you want to buy gold and silver from the comfort of your own home, from your PC or mobile device, you can at Summit Metals. And click on the link in the description below to check them out. But I would not encourage you to buy out of panic or any other fear-driven motive. Obviously, it's tough these days to not make a move because of what you think is going to happen down the road. And it could be bad. In other words, prices could shoot right back up again, and you miss out on this dip. So that's the fear of missing out, and it's an understandable situation. I've been there. I've participated in it, and so far it's paid off for me, but nonetheless, there are times when it won't. Whenever you buy gold or silver, you should expect that the price will fall immediately after you make that purchase. You have to prepare yourself psychologically for that, because when you think about buying gold and silver, you should think not in terms of what it's going to do tomorrow, but what it's going to do next year or the year after that. The long term, the long road ahead, because it's wealth outside of this system. And really what it's about is protecting us against the loss of value of this. The dollar has continued to lose value almost every single year that it has been in its current state as a Federal Reserve under the Federal Reserve System. And that is a declining store of value, hence why it's unsound money, and gold and silver are sound money. As noted in the Constitution, Article 1, Section 10, that is quite profound. More and more people are waking up to that fact here in 2025, especially seeing the prices. But I always like to caution folks that this is an unusual circumstance we find ourselves in with gold and silver. We need to think beyond these circumstances with gold and silver down the road. Sooner or later, everything is going to level out, and what that's going to look like, no one really truly knows. Will it stay where it is and just stay stagnant at these prices, or will it continue to climb, or will it fall back to a new support level? And that support level could be at different areas. Could it be before all of this madness started? Who knows? But nonetheless, we have to look beyond the here and the now with regards to silver and gold. And that's what I believe in and have believed in for quite some time. Now, as we continue to see more and more stories about long lines forming, I'm looking over on the X platform and seeing multiple videos from different places around the world. Singapore, Australia, Japan I've talked about. I'm sure there's a lot of it happening in the United States of America. I know anecdotally, some of you have mentioned, and I have seen at some local coin shops I've been to, there's been a lot of activity, a lot of buying and selling. And we might start to see a shift in more buying of gold and silver now as people kind of look at what's going on around the world and see what's happening, and with the potential that the bull run could continue. We may just be at the very forefront of it. It could continue to climb higher. We just don't know. Or we could be near the top. But nonetheless, when we see dips like what we're seeing just recently, and just in the last trading day, a fairly big crushing of the prices, well, it is an opportunity. There's no question about that. But it's also a situation that could be only temporary, and we could see these losses recaptured again. Now, every Sunday night, I do a market watch. We watch the markets open up in Asia. And it's always very interesting to see how they're going to play out. In other words, will the prices continue to climb or will they fall a little bit more? Is this just the beginning of a new consolidation for gold and silver? All bets are on the table as far as what's going to happen with gold and silver. But one thing I'm encouraging my viewers is to look beyond this and to look at what gold and silver are and have been above and beyond price. There's more to gold and silver than just its price. The more people that understand that and know that, the better off they're going to be. The less disappointed they're going to be if the price falls dramatically. Because we're going to see volatility in the markets. That is something that is where we've been witnessing for quite some time now. It's been euphoric because the prices have just gone up. But there is going to be a time where we're going to see multiple days of corrections and the price falling back. I don't know when that's going to be. But do not lose heart during those times. No. Press forward. Hang on to most of what you have. Yes, I understand there is a good idea. It is a good idea to profit take from time to time. Sell off a few of your metals to pay some bills or for an opportunity, a new car, or paying down a large chunk of your mortgage. Those are type of good things to think about and to consider. But it's always good to have a safe haven, a good backdrop of gold and silver, a core stack, what's known as a perma stack, which is why that condition, that core part of what your value is in terms of having wealth outside of the system is quite profound. Hence why I've coined the term diamond fist. Hold on to that gold and silver, that core stack, so that you can protect yourself in the worst case scenario or a potential revaluation of gold. You never know what could happen down the road. We have to be open to all eventualities and possibilities. There's a lot of things happening in the world today. And so this is why I believe in it for holding on for a long time, which is why you mostly always see gold and silver on my channel when I post these videos to show, that, hey, I want to practice what I preach. I believe in holding the metal. They're beautiful metals. There's no question about that. They each have their own role in different ways. And I think that is a great way to diversify with the two metals and even from within each metal itself. There's different ways to be able to invest in them as well as to hedge with them. And I would encourage us to mostly consider and think about hedging with these metals the least risk amount possible. And when you have that mindset, I think it makes it a lot more digestible no matter what happens with the markets. But we're seeing this intensifying buying that is occurring now, and I think it's going to get probably worse because the prices have dropped and people are seeing opportunities. I think the lines that we're starting to see now will just intensify. We're going to see more of it pop up and probably stockpiles depleted at some of these local coin shops. And one thing is for sure, one person had posted that the gold rush across Asia continues as locals in Singapore storm gold and silver bullion dealers to buy coins and bars. And that is something that we're starting to see for multiple days now. And it's just going to get probably worse over the weekend as the prices are going to be settling in lower. And that is something we've got to think about. And what does that mean for you? Higher premiums. So that's why it's always good to consider when to buy and how to buy. If the premiums start going up and you're in the mood to buy and the prices are down and the spot prices are down, you may not get much of a deal. So that's why you should also weigh as to whether or not you should buy or not. Always shop around for the best deal. And there's Summit Metals has some great prices on certain products that they have. They also have great customer service, but it's always good to weigh in as to whether or not to buy, as well as selling. Summit Metals does buy your precious metals from you as well if you want to sell to make the process easy. So you can contact them if that is something that you want to do with part of your stack. But mainly, I'm encouraging you to hold on to your stack. But it's interesting and fascinating to see how the market dynamic is shifting here, as we're seeing, at least to some extent, a shift into retail buying from institutional, although I think the institutional side is still very strong now. And that's part of the pressure that we're seeing on both ends here with the gold and silver market in terms of the buying the physical. the physical silver and gold products. And so just wanted to bring this to your attention. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. I strive to bring you the latest news and analysis in the world of precious metals. So if you enjoy what I do here, hope you will consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. And with that being said, I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.